to our good friend, Dr. Steffany Mohan from Plaza Dental, because it's time for great smiles. And I was just talking to Dr. Steffany off the air just briefly. I just had my teeth cleaned.
Yeah.
And it's really weird. It's really weird. I do it on the east side of town over in Altoona, but I've never had this happen before. Now I feel like I can't brush my teeth enough because it's almost like there's something on them.
And you know, after 20 years, I kind of feel sometimes like I've heard everything, and that's a little unusual.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean, it's probably just.
So I'm thinking about taking the 4-inch disc grinder from the shop and just knocking the edge off.
Yeah.
But you say you don't recommend that.
I think it'll go away. I think it'll be something that'll just be kind of a temporary thing. And
all right.
it'll
So
go away.
don't freak out over it then.
Don't freak out.
It's only bothered me for 5 days.
I know. Professional opinion, I guess, is sort of like you'll be all right. But
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why you're
that
here.
would drive me crazy, though.
That's why you're here. You're the professional.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are we talking about?
But you know, call me or them if it doesn't go away.
So what are we talking about here
Today we're talking about what to put in your mouth, like what is acidic and alkaline.
Especially this time of year.
We talked about this yesterday, and not to take you off track, but when I was a kid, I had a lot of cavities, and my dentist at the time in my small town always said, well, do you eat a lot of citrus fruit? And I was like, yeah, I ate a lot of oranges.
Yeah.
And is that?
It can, absolutely it can, because it's citric acid.
Right.
It's actually acid. So that's kind of what we're talking about is a lot of people think that, I mean, certainly sugar is the major thing, but bacteria actually feed on the acid that's produced from the sugar.
They feed on the acid?
Mm-hmm. So they actually they love acid stuff. So they thrive in that environment, bacteria. And bacteria doesn't thrive in an alkaline environment. So, and anytime, if you drink something that's acidic, and NutraSweet and aspartame and those things are actually more acidic than even just like a Coca-Cola.
Wow.
So when you have, and sports drinks, and a lot of things. But the sugar is really what causes the problem. But the more acidic it is, that's when you have more of a problem.
Like the lemonades.
Yeah, and lemon and citrus and I mean oranges and that kind of thing they really make a much bigger difference. So and really the biggest thing in the mouth is anything that you take in, you can always brush off, right? So just make sure that you change the environment if you have a lot of sugary, sticky, sweet. I mean, like my kids had gummy bears, the other day.
Yeah, well, today is Gummy Worm Day.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Don't tell my family.
Oh,
we don't really allow them because they're so sticky. I mean, they stick in the teeth and they stick in those grooves in the teeth, and then that's when you really have problems because the grooves have this, they're not like this where they're open. Sometimes they have this, really kind of thin. Your toothbrush bristle can't even get into the groove to brush out the sugar, so it'll sit down in the groove, and that's when it causes a cavity a lot of times.
Right.
So if you don't get rid of the sugar and you don't rinse it out and brush it out and sonic blast it out and that kind of thing, that's when you really tend to have trouble. Is that sugar sits on the teeth and then the acid forms and kind of will cause that.
Now, you mentioned the acidy drinks are really bad for your teeth. Are there any alkaline type drinks that are out there?
Yeah, actually lots of things. I mean, like green tea is kind of alkaline.
Really?
Yeah. And then so
what do you mean by that phrase? Just you hear of acid, but what's alkaline?
So on a pH scale, alkaline is more basic than acidic.
Okay.
So water is a 7 pH, and then acids are kind of a low pH, and alkaline are kind of a high pH. So the higher you get, so water of course is perfect. Water is exactly what you want. It's perfect for your body. We're mostly water. We know that we're made up mostly of water, so that's why our body runs on water, so that's why we have to hydrate well. But the more acidic you get and the more stuff you put in that's acidic into your body, the more your body will be prone to infections and prone to bacteria and that kind of thing because it feeds on that stuff. So the more alkaline you are and the more things that you feed your body that are alkaline, like fruits and veggies, like actually meats are more acidic than alkaline. I mean, I'm certainly not a vegetarian. We live in Iowa. But,
really?
Yeah, I know.
That's surprising.
Yeah, isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
So, I mean, people that eat a lot of meat sometimes will be more susceptible to that kind of. It's just kind of how the environment of the body works. So it's really, really interesting stuff. So if you really look at there's actually kind of a lot of buzz right now about making your body more alkaline and kind of keeping your body more alkaline, and it will run more smoothly and more efficiently and more effectively.
So you said like things like green tea.
Yeah, green tea is actually a really good. I mean, water's always going to be your best bet, always. Coffee actually tends to be a little bit acidic. I mean, you don't want to go overboard with coffee, but mostly, things like.
When it comes to brushing, does the same thing have to apply when it comes to brushing with your toothpaste, for example? Would you want a baking
soda is alkaline.
Baking soda.
Is a basic. So that's why baking soda is in a lot of toothpaste because it actually kind of gets you to that more alkaline state.
That
so
I did not know.
it can neutralize the acid. Yeah. Yeah, so I know.
So if you have sensitive teeth, if you're prone to cavities, you can still drink and eat the things you, you love.
Yes,
but it's about doing some maintenance there to make sure you're taking care of your teeth.
Right, and if you know that you had a very acidy meal, then brushing afterwards is a really nice thing. You know, I mean, I always love. I mean, kids sometimes kids when they have braces, they go to school and they brush their teeth at lunch. I mean, what a wonderful thing. I mean, we should all brush our teeth at lunch if we're really thinking about it. You know,
all right. What if you don't have that option? What if you don't have the option to brush your teeth? After
Rinse
you leave
really
the house?
well with water.
Okay,
just take water and kind of swish with it.
Gums or anything like that? Does gum help at all?
Gum can really help because it kind of like disrupts the stuff that sticks to your teeth, so it can. Gum actually can be a really nice thing. I can't think of the word.
Cellulose, or
it's not cellulose. It's just the. I mean, gum can kind of neutralize that too. So gum is good for. Yeah, it promotes saliva flow. It's good. It's just good. So gum is totally fine as long as it's
not sugar based.
Correct, sugar-free gum.
So Bazooka's out.
Bazooka is out. Okay. Yeah.
I know brushing your teeth doesn't take a lot of effort and time, but sometimes you're not able to. You're exhausted. Is like just throwing mouthwash in your mouth at night before you go to bed.
It's better than nothing, sure. Yeah, and even rinsing with water is better than nothing. I mean, honestly, like take water and just vigorously rinse it around because it disrupts all of that stuff that can. It's basically you don't want the stuff to stay stuck to the tooth.
Right.
What about beer?
I don't know.
No,
if you swish beer in your mouth.
Since you mentioned that, no, seriously, since he mentioned beer, what about alcohol-based mouthwashers like maybe a Listerine?
Alcohol dries out the mouth. And then things stick better when it's dry. Okay. So the more moist your mouth is, like you said, promoting saliva flow, the better off you are.
So you probably want to steer away from that.
And there's so many medications that cause dry mouth, that dry the mouth out.
Right.
So the more dry the mouth is, the more people. It's sort of like a dry forest. If you catch something on fire, I mean, it really has a tendency. Everything will stick to it, and everything will cause. You'll get more cavities if you have dry mouth. It's very, very hard to get dry mouth people to avoid cavities. So,
all right,
something to think about.
All right, now we need to tell everybody where your place is located in case you want to stop by for some other advice.
We are on Jordan Creek Parkway, so we're right down the street from the mall, and we're pretty easy to find. We're by Culver's.
DMSmiles.com.
DMSmiles.com.
Very perfect. Well done. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
It is 9:21. We'll be right back. You're watching Great Day Live on KCWI.